Potentially. I don't know. I guess we're working right now. All right, man. What is up? Welcome back. It is a Wednesday show. And today, look, this has been going all around. All right. I think everybody's talking about this right now. PFF does this every year. They drop their rankings. And today we have like the first batch of rankings with the Lions included. So today we're going to react to those. But I have something also that I thought we should spend some time on because, look, this might be something that we revisit. And this was not part of the initial plan, was like, oh, I want to talk about this today. But when looking at these rankings, for whatever reason, I always like to look at the Lions depth chart before we do a show just to see if there's something that stands out. It's like, maybe we should talk about this because we haven't talked about this yet. And today there was a player that stood out to me, someone that we've definitely discussed. We've talked about like these sleepers and these breakout players, someone that we've discussed, but we haven't given like full attention to. And today I was going to give a little bit more attention to this player specifically as someone that could be super important for this next season. Re-sign with the Lions this offseason, and there's a path for him to have a huge role this upcoming year. So we're going to talk about him a little bit today as well. But before we get to any of that, make sure my settings are good here. Before we get to any of that, we're going to do these rankings, and we don't have them all yet. Like eventually, we're going to get we'll get more. Make sure I'm connected here. Eventually, we're going to get more of these rankings that are going to come out. You know how they do. They start dropping these like defense, and we'll get secondary. So we'll have all this stuff to react to. We'll kind of work our way through it as they drop as we go through this all season. But I thought we just start with what we have so far. So with that being said, let's get right into it. We're going to focus on the big ones is the quarterback one, but I'll save that because that's the big one. That's the one that gets the attention. Actually, this year I thought PFF showed some love. PFF showed some real love, and it's actually more interesting to see how they ranked it this year versus in the past. It threw me off. I have to actually bring up the past rankings of the quarterback position to try to understand what's going on here. So we're going to bring both those things up. But the first thing that we're going to start off with here, before we get to any of that, is let's go with this. Let's talk about this. So they ranked the top 3 players by team. I think this is new. I feel like they haven't done this before, but this is the first time that maybe I've seen this. So top 3 players by team according to PFF. And here were the top 3 they ranked for the Lions: St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell. Now we also got the receiver rankings as well, and we'll show that. Well, we won't show it, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But PFF had St. Brown as the number 4 wide receiver in football, which, by the way, what fires me up about this one is like, I think it was 2 years ago, and it's actually on Bleacher Report where we did this for the first time. I think it was on Bleacher Report like 2 years ago. I was tasked with like talking about like St. Brown. I had to almost make the case for him being a top 5 receiver. And I remember at the time it was difficult. Like I was going through it. I'm like, man, how do I make the case for him to be a top 5 receiver? So you got the stats. You're like, all right, I can make a case for some of these things. But ultimately I made the case as a Lion. This is a top 5 receiver. He's a top 5 receiver within the Lions, like as a Lion. And I don't know if that show's still out there, but that's the case that I essentially made. Is like, well, if the Lions were picking receivers and you put everybody in the line, it's like, hey, pick receivers or whatever, like dodgeball or something. I think the Lions would take St. Brown in the top 5 because he fits perfectly within the Lions. And again, he fits perfectly with the Lions. It works perfectly for our offense. They value that piece. It's more valuable here than someone else that most teams would take before St. Brown, because he's more valuable to how the Lions play stylistically. It fits golf better, all those things. So block, he'll do all the dirty work. So, and he's versatile. And I think we've seen over the last couple of years, like it was really that Chargers game. For me, I think it was like the Chargers game where we started to see him play out wide a lot. It was like, oh, okay, he can kind of do it all. But yeah, back at that time, that's what we had to go off of. So it was a lot back then. But now this year, PFF turns around and like, you know what? He's top 5. He's number 4. And they just had him outside of the top tier of receivers. So we'll get to that in a second. But the first thing is these top 3 players by position. I don't have any disagreements here. I'm not sure exactly how they rank these. I think they mainly went off their grades for these players because, Hutchinson had a ridiculous grade. He just only played a few games this past season before the injury. But as they say at the top, this is the same thing that they bring up when they ranked St. Brown at 4. So it works here. St. Brown continues to dominate PFF's receiving metrics. He leads all wide receivers in WAR in 2024 at 0.74. So he was the top in the league in that spot. Cumulative WAR over the past 3 seasons, 1.70, and average WAR over that span, 0.75. Okay, so he's very effective when he's on the field, essentially what we're saying here. And his 92.5 receiving grade, which they didn't bring up in the wide receiver rankings, trails only Tyreek Hill across those 3 seasons. I think this past year, Tyreek dropped a little bit there, but hey, number 2. So by their grades, they're like, hey, he's a top 5 receiver. It's just the things that are always brought up, like size, speed, that kind of thing. And that was brought up about St. Brown, but it's okay because he is a number 1. He's got number 1 production. and he's a number one receiver for our offense, right? A different offense might look for something different. It's perfect for us. The knock that he actually had on St. Brown when they were doing the receiver rankings was the fact that, you don't get as many of the big plays because so much of his production comes underneath. But again, that's kind of the style of Saint. Like, I don't think St. Brown, and he can obviously make big plays like he did it last year too, but I don't think you're getting the best St. Brown if you're like, let's put him out wide. Let's throw some deep balls to him. Like, you're not. It's not him. It's not where he's going to eat. He's going to eat what he does. So it makes a ton of sense. I'm just glad they gave him the love. They're like, you know what? Forget the fact that, he may not be the typical, that's the guy you think of as a top five, but he's that guy. He is that guy for us. So it's great they put him there. So they have St. Brown 1. Really no argument with that. If they think he's a top 5 receiver, then it's hard to argue this one, to be honest. I think the Hutchinson has a real case to say Hutchinson's the best player on this team when healthy. The problem is he was so good this past year as a list. 39% pass rush win rate before the injury is ridiculous. He was on a ridiculous stretch. He was so good last year that if he had anywhere near that for the entire season, he's the best player on this team. I think he's looked at as and viewed by even PFF as like, yeah, that's the best player on this team. He's that good because the best pass rusher in football, to me, would be valued higher by PFF than, in their case, a top 5 receiver, but not at number 1. Like, you would value the best pass rusher in football, and that's what Hutchinson was until he was injured. So they have Hutchinson at 2. I think it's because he didn't play the full season, but it wouldn't surprise me if after a year people are like, yeah, Hutchinson's the best player. And we're going to see how he returns, but either way, it's fine. Put those 2 in there. And that actually speaks to how good he was because the dude only played a handful of games and he's up here with all the players that we have, because I'm going to expand on this. But number 3, they put Sewell, and Sewell has been, as they mentioned, an elite run blocker. They've had that actually every single year they've had him as an elite run blocker. It's been more of the pass protection where he's been very good, but not like always elite for them there. All right, so what I wanted to do with this, because these 3, I tend to agree with these 3. So I had the wrong thing up. I tend to agree with these 3 here. I tend to agree with the 3 that they have, why they list these 3. But I wanted to expand upon that and say, okay, well, what would be the next 3? What are the next 3 receivers? Or next 3 receivers, sorry. What are the next 3 players that would be ranked in this spot? So that's what I wanted to – let me get this off the screen real quick. That's what I wanted to do next. I wanted to figure out and make and decide who I thought would be kind of the next 3 players that we would rank here. So let's go through that. The next 3 players. This was tough. This is a really good spot because I kind of struggled to like limit this. Like, I was like, I don't really know who to choose with a lot of these. So the next 3 players that I would choose if I was doing these rankings, and these are not like just based on PFF grades, because if that was the case, I mean, this wouldn't be fun. But all right, next 3. So at number 4, and this I'm looking at this as heading into 2025, because all these rankings they're saying are 2025 rankings. So I'm viewing this as like, all right, into 2025. So at number 4, I'm going to put Brian Branch. I'm putting Brian Branch at number 4. So we know last season, right, he was switched positions like midseason, played a lot more slot. PFF calls it as like he's a permanent chess piece, which it sounds kind of weird. Like, all right, that doesn't seem to make a ton of sense, but I get what they're saying because he is. But last season, he had to do that for us. It got the best players on the field for us. We were super banged up. It put him out wide, and it was like, yeah, put him back in the slot. And he was so good in that nickel role the year before that it was like, okay, he took over that role. We have veterans not starting anymore because like these guys he's off to the races so fast that Brian Branch is just taking dudes' positions. And for me, the reason I'm putting him at number 4 is because what he was doing at safety before he switched was as good as Kirby Joseph. And Kirby Joseph was probably the best safety in football last season, but it was on that level. Like, I'm watching these games back and I'm seeing the interceptions against Minnesota that he has, right, where he's just like jumping routes. The feel that he had at safety, the way that he was just anticipating jumping routes, the LA Rams, he's jumping passes left and right from safety. And then the flexibility is ridiculous, even more so than Kirby Joseph. For me, Brian Branch heading into this season ideally will live at that safety spot once again. Maddox is here to take some pressure off of that a little bit. Having Amik Robertson work inside, maybe Rakestraw healthy even as well, maybe even DJ Reed. You leave him at safety. I think that you have, not only do you have the best combo in football, but you might have the best safety in football that's not Kirby Joseph, and that might be Brian Branch. Like, the crazy thing is Brian Branch might be better at safety. That's how good he is. So for me, Branch heading into 2025, projection for me is he's not that same piece that you're trying to move all the time. You can, but you leave him at safety and he's special. So for me, number 4, I'm going to put Brian Branch. On to number 5. This was tough, man, because I'll tell you who I was like trying to decipher between. But at number 5, this was difficult, but I settled back down. I was like, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go Frank Ragnow. I'm gonna go reliable Frank Ragnow at number 5. This is based a lot on last year because last season I think he took he was so good last season. He was so good last season, and we're always like, is he going to play? Is he, like he's dealing with all this stuff. But he was so good last year, Frank Ragnow was. And I think that he just expanded our run game so much. And I think we're going to be called upon. He's going to be called upon so much next season because there's a chance that he has one guard next to him that's played about 150 snaps in the NFL, and there's a rookie on the other side. That could be what he's standing next to. And that's not like a bad thing necessarily. It's a lot of talent and young guys, but that could be who he's playing alongside this next season. Schematically, he's as versatile as it gets, right? He's as versatile as it gets for what we want to do run scheme wise. He's as tough as it gets. I mean, he's jarring guys out so we can get short yardage situations. I think Frank Ragnow, for the challenge that's going to be thrust upon him with also how good he was last season, those two things combined throws him into the top 5. I had other considerations there, but Frank Ragnow, you can't go wrong with that. I actually considered putting Taylor Decker in this spot, not because he is like, maybe he's the second best tackle in football, but because he was so good again last year. I thought last year was an emerging year for him last year, where I considered Taylor Decker. He was kind of an honorable mention for me because Taylor Decker took such a big stride. I thought last year as a run blocker, he really well rounded out his game. And for the Lions specifically, that value is incredible. Okay, at number 6, my list I have Jahmyr Gibbs at number 6. Now, this is another one where I'm really like splitting this between Jahmyr Gibbs and Ali McNeil. So I'm cheating. If we went 7, this make it easier. But these two are the choices for me. It's between these two. I'm going to lean Jahmyr Gibbs. I still think Jahmyr Gibbs has plenty of areas to grow. I think last year, about a little past the halfway point, he took massive strides as a runner. I thought stylistically he was much better. I thought his pacing got a lot better. He still needs to improve in that area, but I thought he took massive strides there this past season, just technically speaking, which is scary because he's already one of the most statistically productive running backs in the league, top 5 in both receiving yards for a back and top 5 in rushing yards. But I thought that he actually took strides in his rushing style this past season. So new running back coach, we'll see how that translates, how it gets better with Tashard Choice, but his receiving jump is the reason that he gets the nod here. For me, Aleem McNeil is right on his heels, though, because Aleem was injured, so it's hard to kind of go off of last season. He's going to miss a lot this season. It almost feels like impossible to throw him in here. But the idea of whenever he does come back, Aleem is one of the best interior rushers in football for me, and he's also that as a run defender. And again, speaking of value here, his value is going to be massive for the Lions this season when they do get him back. But ultimately, I'm going to roll at number 6 with Jahmyr Gibbs. Kirby Joseph has a case. Now, they left Kirby Joseph out because they look at it from like a 3-year span, and last year was like the breakout year. I would lean Brian Branch still, like I said, at safety. I would lean Brian Branch because Kirby Joseph for me is he's become such a well-rounded safety. It's fantastic, but I think Brian Branch is better at safety, and that's how good we are at safety. That's not a knock to him. Frank Ragnow, of course, the importance of there, and yeah, you could go Kirby at 6, you could go Gibbs at 6. I went Jahmyr Gibbs there. You could throw either one into the mix. The other guys that were in consideration were Kirby Joseph, of course. Jack Campbell was on the outside. I couldn't get Jack Campbell into the next 3, but Jack Campbell was considered as well, and those were kind of the next guys up. And Aleem McNeil, like I said, but because of the injury stuff, I couldn't really put him in here. So those are the next 3 players. Okay, that said, let's keep it moving. We got to keep it moving here. Let's go to the next thing, and this is the quarterback rankings. So I put together my quarterback rankings for tier 2 and beyond. Now, I didn't go like through every quarterback, but like the next group, because PFF ends up ranking Jared Goff this season. Right? Is this the right one? No, that's not the right one. They ranked him right here. They ranked him as the number, what do we got the right one? Yeah, number 9 quarterback in the NFL. They say Goff has piloted one of the NFL's most productive offenses over the past 2 seasons, earning an 84.8 passing grade over that span. Now, here's the importance about this. I think they clearly put a lot of value in what does the full picture look like for the most part. The problem that I have with their list is I think the only guy that they didn't really do that is with Jaden Daniels, but in fairness, Jaden Daniels, it's not like he's had a bad season. He just only has 1 season. But I think they clearly took into account, like, okay, what is like the last 2 or 3 years? What does that stretch look like? And because Jaden doesn't have that, they only can look at 1 really good season. So they put Jaden super high on this list, as you'll see. But that's seemingly how they did a lot of this. And I'll make that make sense here in a second, because 7th best in the league over that span. We'll soon find out how much that's tied to Ben Johnson, now the Bears coach, but results speak for themselves. Goff has been a top 10 quarterback over the past 2 years. Here's the interesting thing about this. If we look at this graphic that they put here, they have Jared Goff. Now, this was a year ago. They listed Jared Goff 1 season ago as, did I put it on here? Hold on, I'm going to make sure I had it on here. They listed Jared Goff one season ago as quarterback 16. So just a season ago, and I remember I was fired up about this. We ended up doing like a show on it as well, and I was pretty fired up about like how they ranked. I didn't think it made sense. I didn't think it was fine. But just as a refresher, they put him at 16. So they're saying he was the top 10 quarterback over the past 2 seasons, but they had him at 16. It feels kind of weird. Overall, it's just me saying, PFF, I appreciate you, right, for getting on and being like, all right, we get it. He's doing really good things here. I think it's just that's kind of the explanation for understanding that they're looking at this from a full sample size, because in 2023, heading into 2024, it meant that you would have the 2023 and 2022 season, which were both good seasons, but it was only 2 years. So I guess having the third year on top of it kind of put it all together and like, he's not 16 anymore. He's a top 10 quarterback. So it's interesting. I just thought I'd throw it out there. You can see their arguments to having him at 16. Like, the weird thing about this is like from the 2 numbers they bring up is big time throw percentage, and they bring up turnover worthy play percentage. Both of those numbers actually got worse this past year. His big time throw percentage went to 3.3 instead of 3.4, and his turnover worthy play rate jumped up to 3.2% this past 3.2%. So actually those 2 numbers got worse. So the 2 numbers they pointed out is like, oh, these are the good things for Goff. They got worse. And then the things that they knocked, which is play under pressure and outside of the structure, leaves a lot to be desired. That was the knock they had last year. Outside of structure, we usually don't get a ton great from Goff, but he actually made some big plays last year. Remember, he had some scrambling success, but he made some plays off script a little bit that were like super unexpected last year. So I guess maybe that was enough to put him over the top. Point is, I love what they're doing there. Put him at 9. We appreciate you, but I want to take it a step further. So I did my next tier. Now here's my reason. They didn't really have like a list of why they ranked their quarterbacks like they did. They did for other positions. They didn't really have that for this. I'm looking at it for 2025. So I think the team that you have around you does matter. But this is kind of like, if I just had the players and I was like, all right, which one would I just choose? This is kind of what I did with mine. So the top 4, these are the top 4 PFF has as well. I didn't change that. I just left it the same for sake. I didn't do any kind of like deep dive. I'm like, oh, should I move Jackson? I didn't do that. I was like, all right, let's keep their top 4 because they have Goff. They have Goff in tier 3. Goff in tier 3. They have him at the top of tier 3 is quarterback 9. And that is they say that it's a starting quarterback that flashes like that high level play. So that's where they had Goff. My next set of quarterbacks would go like this. I think as of now, they have Stafford also up here. I think they also have Stafford they have him above Goff. I don't know if they have him like 7, but they have him up there. I think they have Stafford at 7. I put him at 5. For me, and even they say like he's coming off a little bit of a down season statistically speaking, but he did have them close to going to the NFC Championship game. Yeah, I still think Stafford's outstanding, and I think they're going to be in a really good spot. Like the idea of having Puka and Devontae, if those guys are healthy, is incredible. I think they're going to be in a really good spot. They're going to be tough to deal with this upcoming season. So I put Stafford up there. I would also put Herbert up there. Now, this is where the back and forth comes into play. I think you could give the nod to whoever between Herbert and Goff. I think those two are neck and neck for me right now. Herbert has been incredibly efficient. From a numbers perspective, he's actually super similar to a guy like Jalen Hurts, to be honest with you. He just doesn't run as much. So these two are close. He has had really no success in the playoffs. I don't want to like kill him for that necessarily, because I do think that, again, situation going forward, it was a really good year with Harbaugh. They took a lot off his plate. If you actually look at Herbert's stats on the season, and this is in playoffs included, he only had like 3 picks during the regular season, but he had 4 in the playoffs. So he had 24 touchdowns to 7 picks, over 4,000 yards passing, just barely, 64% completion percentage. Now, he had a 5.7% big time throw rate, which is incredible, and only a 2.4% turnover worthy play rate. The biggest knock that I would have for Herbert is taking sacks. They have a better offensive line. They have a better in comparison to themselves, but he still takes sacks at a pressure to sack rate at a 21.5% rate, and he had 45 sacks this past year. So he takes too many sacks. I would say too many pressures turn into sacks, but obviously he makes big throws and he doesn't turn the ball over a ton, and he did an even better job. And I think what they did this offseason, getting a guy like Trey Harris in the draft, I think they're going to be better equipped for that, have more people that can push the ball down the field. I think just with Harbaugh, you expect that's going to get better. That's the style that they want. It's going to work in that style. Nothing wrong with that. As for Goff, I would throw him in here next. Again, I think there's some fluidity with this within these next 3, with Herbert and Goff, but I would throw Goff in comfortably here. Stroud's not coming off a great season, but again, my argument for Stroud is like, yeah, but I would take Stroud. Like Stroud had a horrible had a literally horrible offensive line this past season. Could be much worse. They essentially just said, all right, let's overhaul this whole thing. I still think Stroud is fantastic. I think he showed it year one. I think that his style fits the NFL. I think it's going to work. Like, I'm not that concerned about Stroud. Goff, on the other hand, stats-wise, had 38 touchdowns last year to 15 interceptions, nearly 5,000 yards, 71% completion percentage, the 3.2% big-time throw rate, 3.2% turnover-worthy play rate, which is the biggest knock against him. But as I made the case in the past, his big time throw rate will never be that high. Like, that's just not, it's not our style of our offense. That's always going to be on the lower side. But the turnover worthy play rate did go up, and I don't love that. All right. But he was aggressive last year, and I am okay with that. It just unfortunately happened in the worst time against Washington. The positive for Goff is he doesn't take a lot of sacks. Jared Goff had 33 sacks last year, and only 16% of his pressures turn to sacks. He doesn't really take sacks. He's done a fantastic job of that. So everybody else is at a astronomically bad level. He's not. He doesn't take a lot of sacks. So I feel comfortable with Goff. We know exactly what he is. He's kind of the same guy all the time. People question the OC change. I think it's going to work. Then you go to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, to me, is a little bit lower because as much as Hurts was clutch last year, he was big time. That obviously that team is outstanding. Jalen Hurts, 24 touchdowns, 7 picks, 4,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks, 3,600 yards. Like, he does a lot more with his legs. The big time throw percentage is in a solid spot. His turnover-worthy plates and turnover-worthy play rates in the same spot as Jared Goff, same percentage. He takes a lot more sacks. 23% of his pressures turn to sacks. I like Hurts. I don't think he's a number 5 quarterback in football like they do. I would throw Jaden Daniels in here next. I think that's at 11. Yeah, Jaden Daniels at 11. He's coming off his rookie season. He had a great rookie season. I don't believe that it's going to continue. I think next year is going to be a big step back this upcoming season. I think it's going to be a big step back for that team. But that being said, Jaden Daniels was fantastic. And the big thing is here is like, okay, it's 1 year, but he was as clutch as it gets. Like big time situations, he was as good as he gets. And he did. Like, I mean, I thought like there was a way to make him like make tight window throws, and that was clearly the way to deal with him. I didn't think we did that enough. But in fairness to him, like he made some big throws throughout the playoffs, and you would find like, okay, 3rd and long, he'd find a way to convert. So fairness to him, he was great. He's just, I don't have him nearly as high. I think they're going to take a step back. Then I'd roll in Baker Mayfield, because he also will turn the football over. But Baker put up massive numbers, and he's done this now with like multiple different offensive coordinators. Geno Smith still can get it done. Him and Purdy are kind of neck and neck. I just think I'd lean Geno because of what the upside is there and what I think I could get out of him and ask of him. So, yeah, that's my quarterbacks. They're a little bit different, but for the most part, they got him in the top 10. I'm cool with that. Okay, let's go to the next thing that we have here. And I think we have one more ranking. We're going to have to fly. We're going to have to fly a little bit through this one. We did that. Okay, wide receiver rankings. Yeah, wide receiver rankings. So we have 2 more, but wide receiver rankings are this. So they had, as mentioned, St. Brown was at 4. The other one that they had was they also had Jameson Williams into their top 32. They cut off at 32. They had JMO at 32, which surprised me. I didn't think he'd get on there. The 2 arguments that I make against what they have, and I don't know who was on the outside looking in, so they could probably make cases against this. The 2 guys that I would make cases that JMO should be ahead of, they put him at 32, which I'm happy about. 2 guys that they had him below, though, that I would say and make a case that he should be above. They had Deebo Samuel at 30. I would make the case Jameson Williams should be above Deebo. I do think he's going to have a big statistical season, and John Morton said that, but I think he will. He said he'd have a breakout year. I think he's going to have a big statistical season. So there's that. Deebo hasn't had over 1,000 yards in 3 years. Deebo, to me, obviously, so much of what he brings is what he does with the ball in his hands. It hasn't been great the last couple of years. It hasn't consistently been on the field. I don't think Deebo should be above him based on his body of work over the last few years. And then you also look at, to me, the other guy that would make the case for is DK Metcalf. Now, this is much closer. Production-wise, they're pretty much on the same level. You give JMO the nod like by 10 yards, a couple touchdowns, 1 less drop, and then also a better pass rating. He's got a 116 pass rating when targeted this past season versus DK, who was sub 100. Now, that's not all on him, obviously. And DK has 7 penalties last year versus JMO's 4 because he'll push off a little bit. So I would give JMO that nod as well. Those are the 2 guys I think can make a case. But I'm happy they got him in the top 32. That was cool to see. So there's that. And the final ranking that we got was they listed the top 25 players under 25. Now, keep in mind that you now have Jack Campbell, who's 24 years old, so he won't get on it going forward. He wasn't on the list. Mahogany's 24 years old. You also have and I think Jack Campbell would have been the closest one saying, and Ali McNeil is now 25 years old, so he can't get on here. So the players that they had under 25 that they listed were number 1, Penei Sewell for the 2nd straight season. They listed Penei Sewell as the number 1 player under 25. Number 8, they put Brian Branch under 25. At number 10, they put Jahmyr Gibbs under 25 there for the top 5 of, receiving and rushing. At 23, they put Sam Laporta, a little bit of a down season, but for them, they had him graded as the 6th in terms of tight ends this past year. I have no concerns with Laporta. He just didn't get the ball as much. He had ridiculous touchdown in the playoffs, though. That was insane. And then at 25, they had Kirby Joseph for the 3-year span aspect, though they had him as the best safety just a season ago. So they have 5 players in that list. I don't think anybody else was there. Maybe they were. I didn't count, but it was insane to see them there. The honorable mention, I would throw with Jack Campbell. Now, the last part of this that I wanted to touch on and give some attention to, and we won't stay here too long over here on BR, but this is a player that to me is in a spot where I think he's in a position that he is could potentially have a massive year, not only for the Lions, but also for himself. And he's going to have opportunity. Unfortunately, due to injury, he'll probably get some opportunity. But this past season, he had opportunity. He played basically 150 pass rush snaps for us this past year. He ended up re-signing on a 1-year deal. Nowhere near like a big contract. But that said, he did this last season produce, and he finished the season really strong. His last game, he picked up 6 pressures. He was really good against the run down the stretch. So today, you have your memory of like what you think of a player and like, all right, this is kind of what I remember of the guy. This is what I thought of him. And then you go back and like, let me see if I change my mind, right? Well, I kind of refresh it a little bit. And for me, you got it. For me, it refreshed a little bit in the sense of like body type. Like I remember thinking of him one way, thinking of him being kind of this slithery piece. And while he shows a little bit of that, I actually went back and when I watched him, I felt a little bit different about some of the elements of his game. So, yes, that's Quintez Muhammad, who re-signed on a 1-year deal that potentially could get plenty of snaps this year, depending on injuries. And hopefully it doesn't happen, but he could. And at very least, he'll probably still be somewhat rotational. He's fighting to make the team as well with Ahmed now in the mix and, with some of these young guys. Like he is not a lock to make the team. Like this could range from not making the team to having a legitimate role on this team. But the way that he finished this past season and the way that he has showed the well-roundedness in terms of effort, discipline as a run defender, his ability to actually impact the run game was pretty impactful as well. And then his play styles would stood out to me when going back and like, okay, I don't remember this exactly, but his play style fits exactly what the Lions are looking for. And here's the interesting thing. So Tennessee was the first game that we saw him. If you just watch him against Tennessee, he destroyed Tennessee. Like on his, I don't know how many snaps it was. Tennessee couldn't block him. Right tackle, left, they could not block him. Now, typically he's lined up at right defensive end from what I saw working on left tackles. So it does work opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. But Tennessee couldn't block him. You got guys like Petit Frere out there trying to handle it. They couldn't. Then you would go to a team like Green Bay. And you get to Green Bay and it's quiet. And you go to Chicago and it's pretty quiet. But the second time around, he plays Green Bay again, and it's much better. And all of a sudden, you notice his impact a lot more the second time you see him against Green Bay. And that's the thing that stood out to me was there were subtle improvements as the season kind of rolled along. There was little things that he seemingly got better at as the season went along. But then I step back and I still question. I'm like, okay, can he add anything more in certain categories? Like, for example, can we add counter pass rush moves? Can he start to string moves together? Can he add some sort of wins on the inside? He doesn't win much at all on the inside. Most of his pass rush attempts, there's one example right there with that spin. He didn't show that nearly enough. Most of his wins were all the same on the outside. He got pretty predictable on his entry points. But against Tennessee, they just couldn't block him. They couldn't deal with him. He showed a lot of force. He showed a lot of bull rushing ability as well. Speed to power was there. He has plus length. He's 6'3", 250 pounds. He's got the length to do it. He's got some bend at the top of the rush. And we got to see kind of his go-tos. It's like he had this chop move that he could get to at the top of the rush a little bit that would add something. There was mainly the speed to power. And then there was a little bit of a rip that he would get to. He'd kind of club and rip underneath. That was pretty much the entire repertoire that he brought to the table. That was it. That was all that he pretty much brought. So I'm like, okay, can we get more than that out of Muhammad? But the reason I got excited was the second time he played Green Bay, I felt like there was more there. Now, his counter moves right now are pretty much top of the rush stalls out, and he'll get to the top of the rush, and he'll have the hip strength and the core to shed guys who kind of pull guys at the top of the rush. But you see it, right? You see a little skip, kind of the rip underneath, that little chop rip. His hand usage was wildly inconsistent, right? And also, he didn't deal with tight ends that well. He would get knocked off his rush way too early. I didn't feel like he played with a lot of slither. His juice up field isn't great either. It's much more on the average side. His get off timing is adequate, but he doesn't have a lot of juice up field. He's got some explosion in the contact. He doesn't have a lot of juice. And as you're going to see, like his hands feel messy. You can see he doesn't have maybe that second gear to kind of get to when he does get locked out a little bit to close. And again, he's not incredibly loose and slithery on the outside either. So when he saw him, there felt like there was plenty of predictability to his rush. But then as the season went on, I noticed there was a little hesitation. He started to add a little bit of a hezzy move where he would get up and he'd really stall himself out and then he'd go again. And it wasn't great, but it was something different. And I'm watching it like this is good because against Green Bay, there was no move on the out. Like there was a point where guys were just setting because they knew how he was going to get after it. And he started to add some little bit different. And then all of a sudden, like you're seeing this move, right? And in Chicago, the first time you see a little ghost move. And he showed this a little bit. He would flash it. He didn't do it enough, but he would flash. He flashed a ghost move where he'd punch and then dip and rip and get underneath. And all of a sudden, you're like, okay, there's a little something here, right? While the athletic attributes are pretty close to average, with a little bit plus explosion and some power to his game, the effort's there. The footwork is nice. He plays really close to offensive linemen. He does a really good job of finding angles to the quarterback. I think that's one of his biggest strengths. He finds the quarterback really well with really strong angles. He's just not a great finisher. He gets to the backfield. He misses too many sacks. Now, he did have 3 sacks this past year, which is fine based on his numbers. I didn't think he was like an elite finisher, though. But you see that speed to power that he can crank up. And this is the second time against Green Bay. Had a lot more clips because all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, he's winning. He's beating Rasheed Walker. He's beating Zach Tom. You're finding success. And he ended the season on the highest of high notes with 6 pressures against Minnesota. So I just look at it, and this is the kind of thing, the push-pull, the top of the rush power, the footwork at the top of the rush, all of those things he would flash. I want to see this year of like, okay, can we find more consistency with what you do well? Because clearly you have the power to fit in this team, and you can do it as a run defender, and you got better throughout the year. You were doing that mid-season, you were getting better. So I'm looking at it as, can you add some inside element? When we go to these slant rushes and we're trying to jump you inside, can you give us anything? Right? Can we find anything? Because right last year we really didn't have anything that would kind of come of that. He was too stiff. He showed some real stiffness within his hips. Can we add a little bit more to that element to his game? And can he get a little bit more juice off the edge? I doubt it. But my thing is the way that he wins, his ability to close the top of the rush, the power that he has in the lower body, and some of that ability to dip and really bend at the top of the rush. To me, he has the capability to be, with enough power, to be he has the ability to be a plus pocket collapser from the top of the rush if he can work on setting it up just a little bit better. Just setting it up a little bit better to get your offensive tackle in a spot where they respect a little bit more of the inside move. They respect a little bit more of the hesitation. They can't settle down on what you're going into. If he could just add a little bit more respect to it, he could get to a spot where he could be a legitimate rotational edge rusher, and it could be very good value for us from a signing perspective, but also could be necessary for us when you're considering a rookie and you're considering a lot of UDFAs and a lot of, like, I don't really know what we have in terms of depth there. He has the opportunity to build on the season that he put together this past season. I think he showed enough there. So he's got one of the most like wide ranges of possible outcomes. But as of right now, I'm very intrigued. And he brought different things to the table than I expected when I kind of dove into it. So 150 pass rush snaps this past season for Muhammad. And I think that he has an opportunity to make it really interesting this year. He just needs to use his hands better against the run. You know, he's setting the edge was a problem, but he could bend. He'd create leverage, create a lot of leverage, and he would settle himself in. He just didn't use his hands well that early. So tight ends would give him problems, right? Tackles would get up on him, kind of get him all out of whack. His hands would get outside and get wide, and he wouldn't have any control. Little things like that we need to get dialed in. But this is the opportunity to do it. And if we want to, get hyped about like, oh man, Casey Rogers is going to get these rushers, right? Well, if he can work with him a little bit, maybe working with some Correo too. But if there's a guy that could be in line to make that jump, he feels like the perfect opportunity based on his age. This guy's not 22 years old, right? This player's been around for a minute. This is the perfect player to see that jump. This is the perfect guy to go from, okay, there's flashes. Let's get to a point where it's enough to be a rotational piece and that we can trust you. And if we can get to that point, this is massive. And shout out to Carson in the building. Man, I just watched your latest video, so that was fire. I saw you get all the footballs. But anyways, we're going to end it over here at Bleacher Report. I appreciate y'all joining, man. Those are the rankings. We'll continue to update these as they continue to come in. But I'm going to leave it over here on Bleacher Report, man. I'll see y'all on Friday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great rest of your night. And I'll see y'all then. We out over here. YouTube chat. We're over here. Hey, stream. Hey, they added this little feature where the chat's on the screen now. I kind of rock with this a little bit because now I could full screen myself and still see the chat. It's good because then I don't have to pop. Like if I throw, oh snap, they got both at the same time. See, I like that. I like what they're doing over here. That was good. We went a little over time, but that was good. That's what we need. That's where we're at. We need some rotate. We just need dudes that we can trust. And I think right now we have a lot of unknowns. Like I know I can trust Davenport if he's on the field. But once you get beyond kind of that first wave and you get beyond Levi, who's flexible and things, who do you trust? And he has a really good opportunity to be like, okay, edge 5, right? Like the next guy, like we trust him. It was like, he could be like the James Houston, but you trust him. And that's something I don't think we've constantly had the last few years is like that guy that you're just like, we trust him. And he has the opportunity to be a little bit more diverse in the fact that it's not just as a rusher. We trust you as a run defender. And I think that he started to kind of put those things together. He started to kind of round out his game a little bit to the point where like you could buy into some of this. Mitchell Agude, a guy like that. I mean, a guy like Isaac Ukwu, like Nate Lynn, like those are all unknowns for the most part. But Muhammad showed more than all of those guys last season because he had the opportunity during the regular season. Ukwu showed a little bit, but I would say that Muhammad showed the most clearly based on reps. And he's got the body type to do it as well. And he's already got, here's the thing that's great about him, is he already has ways that are known ways to win. The setup needs work, but he has ways that he knows that he can win. He has a go-to that can win. It's not like I don't really know what I'm doing. He has a legitimate plan. He knows that there's ways he can win. I don't think his instincts are great. I don't think he always had the best feel. Like when opportunities would open, he needs better pass rush instincts, and maybe that can get better, maybe not. But ultimately, like he has things that he can fall back on and that he can kind of build everything out of. Like he can build out of things. He doesn't win by counters. He wins with go-to moves that he can build off of. So I'm excited about that. Can the Lions stop blitzing linebackers? Worst linebacker pass rusher in the league. Yeah, it's not great. Derek Barnes will help us there. I think that who was it? Malcolm Rodriguez is really good there too. I can't remember who it was last year. I think it was Malcolm Rodriguez is a really good blitzer. So I like when he goes. I think it was Jack. Like Jack is not a great blitzer in terms of getting by guys, but he can finish a little bit. But I think it was Malcolm last year. And I'm always okay with blitzing him. Alex doesn't bring much there at all. So I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying there. But having Derek Barnes back will at least add something. I think Beauplan could too. I think if a guy like Beauplan was on the team and he had snaps, I think Beauplan could get after it a little bit. And I would like to see what that could potentially become if he had the opportunity. But he'll have to make the team first. That's where it's all going to start for him. Anyway, Nowaski. Yeah, Nowaski could have a little something. I mean, Nowaski showed it more on the edge, but it wasn't as blitzing. He was just rushing off the edge. He added a little bit, so I don't hate that one. Like, especially if he plays off ball, he could add something because he found ways to, like, occasionally impact the quarterback, and he's not really built to do that, but he was more of a power piece. He didn't really have much outside of that, but, like, he found ways to impact the quarterback a little bit towards the end of the season, the more he got snaps there. I'm not again. I think that could work. I think that could work from off ball a little bit. He could have a little juice. I didn't see that, but yes, I definitely want to see more Pat O'Connor. Hey, shout out to Pat O'Connor. Would you trade Alex for a fourth? No. I don't know. Did someone offer us a fourth? It's a good question. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no right now. I'm gonna say no, bro. We going for the Super Bowl, bro. I don't want that 4th round pick. Let's go win that Super Bowl. It's a shoot, dude. That's intriguing though. 4th round pick. I don't know if they pass that up. I'll be honest with you. Unless it was like a comp pick, if someone offered them a 4th, the Lions might take that. Like I think there's a real chance they would take that. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because I'm a weenie. I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna say no. Gibbs is 4, Kirby's 5, Branch is 6. That's fair. I think you can push Gibbs up. Gibbs is so upside to me still too, and that's a crazy thing. Like I don't think Gibbs was the best running back in football last year. But I guess maybe some of that is too is I'm looking at like so many areas that I felt could get better. And I felt like I was watching some Terrion in the sense that like, okay, this is looking better this game. And I felt like I was watching that through the year. The difference with Gibbs is he's in that world to me, yet he's still amazing. So like the idea, like he could be to me the best running back in football next season. I think that's absolutely on the table. So I'm not against that. I think he could be the best running back in the NFL because he's already getting there, and he's such a good receiving back, which is what I thought he'd be coming out. I thought he needed to work as a rusher coming out, but as a receiving back, like I thought he'd click. And last year he started to put that together. Kirby at 5, that's fine with me too. I got no arguments from me. I like having Branch in there. DJ Reed, he might have a case. He might have a case. DJ Reed's a dog, bro. like DJ Reed's tough, man. He's tough, and he's got that big deck. Like he might be here all 3 years. And he might like you legitimately could not really make a case like, all right, hey, this game, we're going to put Carlton inside. You couldn't do that. You could, if some craziness happened where it's like, maybe even a year from now, and it's like, Rakestraw and Terrion are our best wide corners. You could just be like, let's just put him inside. And you could probably make that work, and he'd be probably pretty darn good there. You couldn't do that with Carlton. He plays a lot of right cornerback, but he's done both. So DJ Reed's tough. I'm not mad with that. Look at our 3rd down coverages, getting their face kicked in by the center. Draft Campbell if you're going to run more. I hear you on that. Now, the thing with Campbell is you don't really want him in coverage in like man, like if you're going to play cover one with him, like I agree in the sense of like you'd rather have him like as a rat back or you'd rather him just kind of settle underneath. The problem to that is some depending on the down and distance, it's not really impacting anything, and they don't use spies. So like I hear you. I hear you. We'll see if that changes a little bit. The Anzalone one's always Anzalone, like I'm okay with him blitzing because to me, he can blitz a lot more off of did the running back release? No. Okay, I'm going to go. And I think that we saw some of that with Jack. Like sometimes I don't think it's always a design blitz from the backer, as it's more so, especially towards the end of the year. I think we started to see this with Jack when we started to see them kind of crank up. I think Jalen may have been the one that started this, where it was, hey, every game's different, but I think it was like the San Fran game where it started to turn into like, okay, just go. And I think it was the San Fran game where it was like, hey, if the running back's not going to really release, just go rush the quarterback. But even if he does release and he's kind of just trickling out to the flat, just go, just rush, right? So I think there was some of that we started to come see in play, and I'm okay with that out of Alex too. Like, because I'd rather have Alex if a back doesn't release than just sit there in no man's land, like just rush, just blitz. Jack is the weirder one because like I don't even think he needs to always be on the field on third down. So hopefully they can find some there. I understand they would like him as a finisher there. He just hasn't really brought much as a blitzer. Goff having that 6-game stretch last season tells me he can be the number one quarterback in the league. Now, I mean, if you look at it from a numbers perspective, he has a case. At least in stretches, he's definitely been the best quarterback in football. So he would have a case based on numbers, no question. And again, if you just took stretches or if you just like took certain, like, yeah, I mean, he's had games where he's been the best quarterback. Amika's only missing 3 to 4 games. See, and that's great. Now, I think Amika is like, I think there's a world in which Rakestraw could be good enough at wide corner where Amik's working in the slot and you don't sit DJ, where your best three is DJ Reed kicks inside and Rakestraw. If you're going to leave Rakestraw outside, now if you want to, dabble with Rakestraw inside, then that changes everything. But if you want to leave him out wide, I think there's a world in which your best three could be those three. And someone's got to step off, and that would be Amik. So, like, that could be the case. I doubt that would happen early in the season, but I think down the road, it's on the table. It's on the table. I guess it's a good problem to have. Our secondary is incredible. It looks good. It looks good. It looks good. We just need some jumps, and we should get those. As long as we get the jump, as long as we get some jumps. Yeah, Terrion's going to start. No, not Terrion. Not Terrion. Terrion and Rakestraw, and I'm saying DJ Reed kicks inside, Amik to the bench. Like, I think there's a world where that can happen. Not Terrion. Not Terrion. I'm not Terrion. Not Terrion. I think he's going to have to start too. I don't think they're going to touch that. Anzalone has instincts, give him more flexibility. I mean, and he's always had that. Like, he's always had that, like speed to just kind of go. I think we saw some of that a little bit last year. I think that's his value. Like, and he's never not going to be on the field on third down because he is one of the best man coverage linebackers. So if the Lions are going to play a lot of man on third and that's their go-to, he should be on the field. Like, he absolutely should be because he's going to do that, and he's better than anybody else that you have in that spot. Malcolm's not super far off, though, after last year. Malcolm is just more of an issue on matchups. Like, you get him on guys that are just too big for him. But outside of that, Malcolm's really good last year sticking with guys. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anything specifically here. Find a 4th and a next year 7th. Yo, I think if they got that, they might pull the trigger. Like, I think if they realistically, I think if they got that, I think they'd probably make that trade. I think they would make that trade. I think if that was on the table, if someone said like, "Here you go for that," I think they'd do it. Now, I think that would have to happen before the season started, though. I don't know that they would do that mid-season. I don't know. I don't think they would do that mid-season because they'd probably have injuries, so I don't think they would do it mid-season. This is what's likely going to happen. Like, this is very likely what it's going to look like. But I think there's a world in which Rakestraw is better at wide than Amik is in the slot. I just think it's possible. I'm not saying it's not like making a case I want to take Amik off the field. Amik's going to battle for it, and he'll probably win the spot. It's most likely that's the outlook. But at some point, could you tell me that's possible? I think it's possible. I think that would be the most likely next option up, is that's how it could shake out. And then you just got to find a way to keep Reed on the field. And look, Terrion could play inside too. I just don't think they're going to do it. We drafted and signed good zone DBs, but we insist on 5'9", 4'5" guys playing man. I don't have an issue with that. The 4'5" thing is no problem for me because, and again, I got videos on Terrion. Play speed is very good. So like, I don't buy into the 4 or 5. Like, he plays the game fast. I think Terrion's perfectly fine for man coverage. Rakestraw is the interesting one There is a debate with Rakestraw in terms of his play speed based on when things would get more vertical level 3, having some support over top. There is a legitimate argument for Rakestraw, like depending on what routes he constantly has to deal with, inside versus outside. That's why some people like him more on the inside because of that vertical speed. He's got more of a case. As it comes to he's DJ Reed. You just think about DJ Reed and Carlton is like Carlton was amazing in man, but he was actually really good in zone for the Lions. That's where he stood out last year. He was amazing in man when he came here, but he's actually better in zone. You can make the case for the Lions than he was in man coverage. I think DJ Reed is perfectly fine for man. I think he has the long speed for man. I think so much of it again is it's not the straight line speed, it's to change direction, right? Like he actually straight line, like if someone just ran a goal ball against him, there could be occasion where someone just got over top of him. But he's so reactive off the ball where like if I had, I'll make it like this. If I had DJ Reed in man coverage, but he was off in man coverage, say he's given 7 yards to the cushion, the Lions will do this. Say he's in off man coverage and he's playing wide. I'm not that concerned that people are going to be running past him. Because if it's the double move, he's going to hang with it pretty well. He may jump it and that could be in trouble, but he's going to run with it pretty well. If it's a press situation, someone just ran a go ball, he's going to get out and run with the guy. That would be your best chance to try to get a step over top. That could happen. I just don't see that happening that often. That's going to be the situation for him. Rocky Sin might give Rakestraw for his money. I mean, shoot, I hope he does, bro. We need to figure out who cornerback 5 is. That's in the air. We got to figure out who's going to be the last corner to make this team. I mean, based on the contract, what's his face? I can't think of his name now. Dorsey would be the next guy up. But y'all know I'm higher on Rakestraw, so it's just like naturally, like I believe Rakestraw is going to be really darn good. So like I'm just higher on Rakestraw. We'll see how it shakes out. I just I don't want to get off of that train yet because I think he could be amazing. Are you sure about how much man we're playing this year? I have no idea. I have no idea. I know that last year we weren't first, but we played it a lot. I think we were second last year to Denver. I think we were both over 50%. I think that could be wrong though. I think we were both over 50%. So I anticipate that's still going to continue because I think DJ Reed is built for that. As much as he played zone with the Jets, I still think he's built to play a lot of man because the main thing with him is man or zone, off man, whatever you want to put him in. He's just a guy that's disruptive. Like that's his game. When DJ Reed is his best, he can get guys, give guys contact off the line. He can make things disruptive. He can shake off the route. The routes tends to lose timing. And that's what the Lions like to do. It's why they blitz so much. They want to throw off timing. The Lions want to be physical because they want to throw off timing. I don't expect that to really change that much. I think we could see more zone utilized, but even with like Rakestraw, like I think Rakestraw can play zone. Like Terrion, Rakestraw, I thought Rakestraw was better as a coverage piece coming out. Terrion could play Rakestraw can play all different coverage types. He was really good in all coverage types in college, so he'd work wherever you put him. But Rakestraw, even still, while there's long speed concerns, somewhat, when he gets his hands and gets physical with guys, that's where he settles into like, okay, Rakestraw's really good. And we saw that this past year too. When he was able to get hands on guys and disrupt things, he looked he played much faster. It was like, all right, he's slowing down the route. Now that's where his advantage comes into play versus actually other spots where you put him in zone where it felt like he was actually playing slower because he had to be reactive to everything happening. His play speed actually looked a little bit slower than it was when he was actually able to get physical and kind of slow guys down and play his game. So I think he's kind of a weird player in that spot. So I still think like, we have guys that can do all those different things. Like I said, Rakestraw is very capable. DJ is very capable. So is Terrion. Like they were all fine of doing that. And I think the bigger thing is forget zone for a second. All of our guys are very capable of playing in off coverage, which is something the Lions will value. They'll value playing off coverage, giving guys space, and then you can blitz out of that too. And I think that all of their guys are very comfortable in off coverage. That's the big thing. Like Reed's comfortable playing off 8 yards. So is Terrion. Rakestraw got a lot of looks there last year. It didn't look as comfy, but he got a lot of looks there this past year. So I think that's the big thing with that because, even last year, like it just depends on who we play. It depends on who we play. Some teams we jam them off the line and we try to, force them, we try to squeeze their 2 receivers out of the play. We play some cover 2. Other teams, we didn't play that at all, so it just depends on who we're playing. But the positive is at least you have versatility. I think ultimately the identity of playing a lot more man than anything, I don't want to say more than anything because I think even the heavier man coverage teams still lean more zone just because it's the NFL now. But I still think ultimately Lions will be a top man coverage team in football. Like I don't think that's going to change. I think that will continue to be the case. Is this our deepest secondary? I don't think it's our deepest, but I also don't know what to compare it to. Like I'd only be able to compare it to the last couple of years. I don't know that I want to say it's our deepest, but it could be because the health never really worked out. Like Mosley wasn't healthy. So like in theory, Mosley would have been great depth, but it didn't work out. And safety still has some question marks because it's if Maddox, who I think is going to do well, it's just that Maddox at safety is still a transition for him. Then it's a 7th rounder in Dan Jackson, and then it's an undrafted free agent. It's like, so there's still questions there. Like, even if you like the guys, we haven't really seen him. And then at cornerback, like really beyond 4, like in terms of an investment, there really hasn't been any strong investments beyond cornerback 4. And that's typical with most teams. Most teams aren't going to be throwing cornerback number 5, 3 years deals. Like that doesn't happen. Philly kind of had that last year, I think, but that doesn't normally happen. So it could be. It could be. It just depends on, I would say, health and then how those back end spots kind of fall out. But again, I'm not good at comparing it though. Because yeah, Slay and Quinn, we didn't really have we didn't have a safety opposite of Quinn that was elite. Like we definitely have the best safety room I've ever seen. Like we had Louis Delmas, who was awesome. I don't remember him that well from like actually what they were doing. I just remember Louis Delmas was there. They had who was the dude with the long hair from Seattle? They had that dude. I can't think of his name. He was like the big hitter. Remember they had I like their safety room when they ended up bringing in Duron Harmon, and they had Duron Harmon, Tracy Walker, I think was entering at that time, but they also had the dude that went to Dallas. That was a pretty nice safety room too. What was his name? Let me remember who that was. We had a big safety who went to Dallas. He actually did really well. Who was that? They had a big safety, man. Y'all remember who I'm talking about? He was like 6'4". I don't remember what his name was, but he was pretty good. He was pretty good. And he actually did pretty well with us. Let me look it up. I know I did a video on him. Shoot, I can't spell. J-Ron Curse. J-Ron Curse. Yes, J-Ron Curse. I knew I did a video on him. So in 2020, we had J-Ron Curse, and we had J-Ron Curse, we had Tracy Walker, who didn't really connect, but in theory it should have worked, right? Because I think that's the year that Tracy was drafted. I think. And then you also had Duron Harmon, who came in 2020. They probably didn't have the best opportunity either, because the Lions like didn't get a lot of pressure at that point either, which wasn't great. Let me see. So this was, yeah, Duron Harmon ended up having 5 pass breakups that year, 2 interceptions. It was Tracy Walker's, I think. Oh, Tracy Walker, that wasn't his rookie season? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm way off. Tracy Walker was drafted in like 2017, 2018. Okay, so Tracy Walker was just here. My bad. That wasn't his rookie season. I'm way off on that. And then J-Ron Curse. That was their 3. That was a good safety room. And Will Harris was still here. People hated Will Harris here, but I still like him. And Will Harris is doing a nice job with New Orleans, but that was a pretty good safety room. Like on paper, that was nice. Probably it's definitely not as good as this one though. Like, so I definitely don't think we have a good there's not a good comparison, especially at the top. We rarely corner blitz. We very rarely do. We should do it more often against running quarterbacks. Like, I like corner blitzing. Now, we do a lot from the slot, but we also do it against run plays too. We don't bring a lot of wide corner blitzing. Neither, like DJ Reed didn't blitz very much with the Jets, but we do occasionally bring double cornerback blitzes. We did it this past season. Sometimes teams will throw that at us too. We'll occasionally like have 1 or 2 of those during the year, and then we will bring a handful of slot blitzing, especially when Branch went back to the slot, because the Lions like to slant off of that. So they'll jump him into like the C or the D gap, and then they'll slant their line off it. They do plenty of that. Like even when I was doing the Muhammad video, like there was examples where Muhammad would rush out wide so we could jump in Brian Branch. So we do bring some slot blitzing. That does happen. That happens. I don't know how it happens in comparison to the rest of the league, but I feel like that happens at a pretty good amount compared to the rest of the league, but not a lot of wide blitzing. TA is moving to the left side of the field this year. Mark it down. You heard it from Motown first. He's moving to the left side, so he's going to play left cornerback. That makes sense. I mean, DJ Reed lived at right corner, so it would make some sense. Lions will get glazed for being elite O-line with average pass pro again. Mahogany, Tate Davis. Hey, look, now Mahogany was good last year. He just didn't have a lot of reps. Trying to think. So it was Mahogany and it was Glasgow's always been kind of like this, a little bit more midline in terms of pass protection. That's always been a little up and down for him. That just happened. Like, he just has really bad games. Frank is a good pass protector. He's not elite, but he's a good pass protector on the inside. Now he's working against 2 young guys, so that's why he's so important for this upcoming season. And then, Mahogany was good. He just didn't do it much. So a lot of that's still kind of up for interpretation. I think Miles Frazier is going to be a good pass protector immediately. Decker is a very good pass protector. Decker's very good. He's not the best, but he's very good. And then Penei Sewell is very good too. I throw both those in that category. So it's not like the best pass protecting unit. I wouldn't make that case, but it's one of the better ones. It's one of the better because they're more well rounded. It's just the interior. Like if you have, it's kind of like what Green Bay, right? When Green Bay would have, and I'm not saying Graham Glasgow, Sean Ryan, but when they would have a lot of times a guard, they're like, all right, we pick on that guy. And that's a lot of times the problem for an offensive line is if you can single out guys to pick on, and it makes it difficult. You can just pick on teams that have guys that struggle on the offensive line, especially on the interior, because there's not a lot of support. You'd have to slide protection all the time. And teams do, you have to get the ball out fast. But if your guards are struggling, bro, there's not a lot to do with that. At tackle, I can send help that direction, that kind of thing. We're losing bodies, but I can send help. You still slide things, but like Packers would have that issue where they would have like a guard that would struggle, and that's kind of who we would go after. So I think it's hard. I think it's hard to find 5 guys that you really like across the board. Definitely want to say we're the best pass protecting offensive line, but I'm hoping it gets there. I mean, I think Miles is going to be pretty good early, and if we just take Mahogany sample size, he should be really good. But I don't know, because that was what I had questions about coming out mainly. Like I had legit questions about Chris Mahogany coming out there, but he did good last year. I think Glasgow's fine. Like Glasgow's fine. Like if he was starting, I'd be fine with it. It's just that you're going to get against certain teams that are going to go after him. And like, bro, Kenny Clark's had a hard matchup with for a lot of people, bro. You don't have to deal with that dude. That dude's a problem. Bailed out a lot. Yikes. Christian Mahogany, from what I saw, was great. He was really good last year. It's just he didn't have a lot of pass pro snaps, and not a lot of pass pro snaps that went that far. Like a lot of things were quick, a lot of quick sets. I think there's going to be a lot. Like if he's starting, you're going to see a lot more thrown on his plate. You're going to also get a lot of better pass rushers than what he actually went against this past year. Like the Chicago didn't really have an interior rusher this past year, right? So he's going to be tested a lot more. Let me double check on that actually, because I know Chicago he played the full game. I thought he played Green Bay like a full game, but that might not be right. Let me see. Maybe not a full game, maybe a little bit. So Chicago was it. Chicago was the only full game that he played, and then he played snaps against everybody else. Chicago doesn't have a great interior rusher, right? So, like, who was the guy on the inside? I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you who their best interior rusher was last season. Was it like who? I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Washington. Okay, Washington. That's true. That's true. Washington. So Washington. And they had now Washington's got some young dudes. They're going with they're kind of transitioning this year off of some of the older pieces like Jonathan Allen, who to me wasn't great anyway. But they're going to more of the youth side this year. I think that's going to be good for him. I think it's going to be really good for him because the year before they drafted dude out of Illinois, Newton. I thought Newton was good. He just didn't get on the field that much. I think them going younger is going to be good for him. So we just need to see more. That's it. KO'd. Yeah, KO'd is in a battle this year. Like KO'd is nowhere near a lock, I think, to make the team this year. I think it's gonna be a hard battle to get on because I think Manu's in a good spot to make it. Let's say he continues to take forward, he's gonna get on the team. You have your 5. Let's just assume our 5. Then your backups essentially would be Graham Glasgow, Giovanni Manu, Miles Frazier, Dan Skipper. That's 9. Like that's gonna be hard to crack that. So KO's in a tough spot. If I was guessing right now, my guess would be KO doesn't make the team. Anybody that can bring inside flexibility helps. KO can play both guard spots. My early guess I would guess that KO doesn't make it. He and a guy like Michael Neese could be in play because Neese did make the 53 last year because he could play backup center. Because these guards are going to stick around. So I think Michael Neese, KO'd, Sorsdal, like all those guys are probably in that. And look, Sorsdal's went back to right tackle, so I don't know if that's going to stick or not. But Sorsdal would have to beat out it feels like Sorsdal would probably have to beat out like a Dan Skipper, which is going to be really difficult to do in a preseason. That would be difficult to do. He didn't have a terrible preseason though last year, so it's on the table. It just would be difficult because he may also have to show that he can play some left tackle too. And I don't know that he's going to be able to show that. They would have to feel comfortable with the guys like Miles kicking the left tackle. I don't know if that's going to happen. How do the Lions feel? How do you feel the Lions will be ranked higher as a pass rush or a run defense? I hope. That's a good question. I don't know because I like ranked by what exact because I would say the last few years they probably ranked higher as a pass rushing unit. And as long as Hutchins is healthy, I think it's going to be hard to change that. I hope it's run defense because I think we can get after it as long as we can stop the run. So my early guess would be pass rush would rank higher, but I really hope it's run defense. I want to see run defense take off this year. I don't know what that was. What about Ian Kennelly at safety? Yeah, I mean, he's in the play. Like, the safety's wide open. Safety's wide open. They said that he stood out going through their workouts they had for him because he was a trial player. So he stood out going through the rookie minicamp, or not through rookie minicamp. He actually stood out going back to their visit. I think they had a local visit with him, and he stood out there, so they ended up signing him. It was hard to find much film on him, so I don't honestly know a ton about him. Like, from what I've seen so far, it was really tough to find. He played a weird safety role in college too, so I think a lot of things are going to translate kind of weird to the next level for him. I don't know what the heck that's going to look like. I know he's athletic. I know he's a thumper. I want to see if man coverage is more smooth than what I saw because it feels like there could be some upside there. He did play over the slot a pretty good amount, so I want to see if that actually will translate. I think that's going to be important for him to find that. If he finds flexibility, if he can play some man coverage, he has a shot to beat out. He has a shot to get in. At very least, he has a shot to get on the practice squad. But he does have some stiff competition with guys like Lawrence Strickland. Like, I think Strickland's going to be tough to pass for anybody this upcoming season. Strickland's a heck of a player. How about the G gun offense instead of the K gun, the golf guns? Okay. Wait. Wait, what the heck? I don't know what you're talking about. Wait. What are you talking about, Bo? Come on, man. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Armstrong scrub ended our season last year. Glasgow couldn't block him. Yeah, no, well, Armstrong's at DN, so that was like the 3rd and 2, right? And then yeah, that was unfortunate. It was unfortunate. Yeah. Shout out to Armstrong, bro. Lawrence Armstrong, man. He's not a bad player. Lawrence Armstrong's a good player, man. We don't have to talk about that though. It feels good to break down a good team, right? Imagine if we sucked. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like that was most of YouTube that I've known is like when we've been bad. I don't know. I feel like it's always been fun. Like, I've never had it was fun when we were bad, if I'm being honest. Like, I feel like you got more pessimistic comments back then, understandably so. But like that felt like the only difference. I don't know. I feel like there was always still hype until maybe the last year. Like, maybe the last year, Patricia, maybe it definitely died off during the season. But I always felt like there was buzz. I think the hardest part back then was like mid-season. It was definitely mid-season when like we traded away Tate. And it was like, okay, that was weird. And it's like hard to explain it. And it wasn't a bad trade, but it was just like hard to explain at the time. And then like when we lost to Chicago after we were up big, like it was things like that. It was more mid-season where it was like super gut wrenching because like maybe they'd show something and then it would fall off, or like the injury when Stafford got hurt. Like that was such a killer. You know, you were off to like a real start. It was like, oh man, we're gonna, at that time 2-1-1. It was like, wait a minute, this team might win the Super Bowl, bro. Now it's like expected, which is crazy. It's just a whole different mindset. But at that time, I feel like the fun is like it doesn't take as much to get you fired up, and that's fun. Like wins don't get overlooked. Anytime you win, you're excited. Anytime you win, you're pumped. You're thinking like, yo, the season's turning right now. We're a problem. Now, when you beat teams that are bad, it's like, oh, you're supposed to beat those teams. Like there's a fun to that. There's a fun to just appreciating everything, and it's so easy. Like last year, bro, it was hard because like I would find myself like I don't want to overlook this game, but you kind of do, and you after you win, you're like, I don't know if I'm enjoying this enough. Like I should be enjoying the fact that we're winning all of these games because this is like nobody wins 15 games in a season, right? This is insane. So like there is an appreciation that I think you get when you're not a great team and every win just feels amazing. Like everything. I mean, it just feels so amazing to win. Like y'all remember when Daryl Bevell came in and we beat the Bears in Chicago? We had like the strip by Romeo, and I think we set up the touchdown for AP, and he walked in. Bro, that was like top of the mountain, bro. I was like, dude, we might make the playoffs. We were like 5-7. Like, yo, we could run the table. We could run the table. And then you didn't. You didn't. You lost. Was it 47-7 that year? So like things like that happen. But bro, like everything was fire then. Like any win was amazing. I don't want to lose that. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to just enjoy it, man. Like remind yourself, like, bro, you're not supposed to be winning 15 games. Like, and that's why this year, like, it doesn't, if the Lions won 10 games, I'm happy. Just get in the playoffs. That's how I set the bar last year. Just get in the playoffs, bro. I know they set a higher bar. That's all I wanted, just get in the playoffs. And that's where I'm at this year. I don't care about the record. I just want to get in the playoffs. I don't care for a wild card. We're at seed 7. We, went 8-1, and we took some goofy tiebreaker. Just get in the playoffs, and I'm fired up. All right, that's all I want. I just want that extra week. I want to be in the playoff hunt, and I don't think that mindset's ever going to really change for me. Just get us there. Now, once we get in the playoffs, I want to win the whole thing, but just get there first. That's all. That's all I'm about, man. We just get in. You got a shot. And we saw that with freaking Washington. Washington got in and they smoked us. I mean, it's unfortunate, but like, bro, just get in. Bill's offense with Jim Kelly was called the K-Gun offense. I didn't know that. Bo, I didn't know that. Went over my head, bro. I had no idea. Laughing over a Cephas video that I did. Was it? I don't even know. I don't ask what that was. It was probably a mess. What was it about? Well, yeah, I got it. What was it about? After living through 16, 15, and 16. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. And it's just like, bro, enjoy beating the bad teams. Like, it's weird, but just like enjoy it. Let's not overlook those. That's the one thing I will say that I hate is like I feel like there's too much of that. Like there's less appreciation for like, yo, it's still not easy to win. It's almost like there's an expectation in the NFL, like, oh, you got to beat that team. They're not a good team. It's like, bro, it's hard to win in the NFL, dude. There's so much talent on all these teams. Or maybe that gets me in trouble, and it would last year where I'd like go into a game, I'd predict the game, and I would like overestimate the opponent. I remember that I think it was like the Jacksonville game, right? Where like I thought we beat them, but I didn't think it would be like what it turned into. And I'm looking at that raw. I'm like, there's good players here, and you're watching them like they're doing good things. And then you play them, we beat them like 40, and it's like, all right, I didn't think that was gonna happen. And then I do that. I overestimated our opponents multiple times, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like I don't want to. It's hard, bro. It's hard to win. You were hyping Cephas as our next big thing, and look, and you look at. Hey, yo, hold up. He might still be, bro. You know what I mean? If a couple things go right. Yo, where is Quintez Muhammad right now? Hey, if that dude didn't get cut for the. Hey, in fairness, he did make it to the next. He made it to the next stop. Like he stuck around. It's just, he had some things go on, I guess, and then he got cut, which isn't great. Right? He was part of the gambling thing, wasn't he? Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. Cephas was cool though. I rock with Cephas, bro. I'd love to have Cephas on the show. That'd be fire. We gotta reach out to Quintez Cephas, man. I don't think he's on a team, bro. Oh no, he's with the Rams. American wide receiver for the Rams. Oh, look at that. He's still doing his thing. He's on the Rams. I didn't know he's on the Rams. Is that right? Maybe Wikipedia is lying. No, yeah, he's got a 1-year, $1.1 million deal with the Rams. No, he's got a 2-year deal. He signed a 2-year deal? He was with the Bills last year. What the heck? How did he sign a 2-year deal? Signed a 1-year contract. Oh, he signed a futures deal. That's why. I was like, he signed a 2-year deal. He signed a futures deal with the Rams. Okay, so he's still he's still playing. It's crazy how fast those turnarounds go. Just want to see the solid defense, consistent, hard to run on. Dude, I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm fired up for now is the defense. I'm fired up for everything. Everything's new, so it's kind of fun. Like, it's not as – I don't think it's as concerning. It's more exciting. Like, what is the offense going to be different now? What's it going to look like? It's almost better that people have lower expectations now. It's like, all right, we still got dogs, so, like, I ain't worried about it. But, like, then defensively, I'm fired up about defense because I think Kelvin Shepard – I think he could be better than Aaron Glenn as a defensive coordinator. Take nothing away from Aaron Glenn, but I think he could be. He seems to have that kind of mentality. And then I also, like I said, I want to see that run defense get back to being dominant. And that's what they've been fun with the last couple of years. They've become really good and really deep. In the preseason, they've been really good on defense. I want to see us get back to that. Let's get back to being dominant on defense. Quintez Cephas is currently on the Rams. Yeah, he's on a futures deal, man. Hey, he's gonna have a shot. AI. That was AI. Shout out to AI, man. I gotta use AI. I don't use it. What rookie are you excited to see? Doesn't have to be the Lions. No, man, that's I want to see if like Braden Swinson gets snaps with the Patriots because I liked him a lot. So that kind of threw me off when he went so late. Um, yeah, it threw me off when he went so late. So like I want to see how that, but that he might not play. So let's go to like guys that would start, guys that are probably going to start this year or get some like really good snaps. I would say, I mean, I definitely want to see what Travis Hunter does. I think everybody does. I want to see what Travis Hunter does. I know they got a primetime game this year, at least one. I want to see what that looks like. I really want to see that, and I really want to watch Atlanta. Atlanta has had no pass rush the last few years. Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. on that team. I think they're over under set at like 7.5 too. I want to see those two dudes. I want to see Jalen because I was like, Jalen was my guy, so I want to see Jalen crush it. But I want to see those two dudes together and just see like can they get something this year? Because I think Atlanta's sneaky, man. Like I wouldn't like I'm not telling y'all to do this, but it's interesting to me. I think they're set at 7.5 wins. And if they can get some pass rush, people like Penix last year, that team feels like they could go, man. I don't know. They feel like they could feel like they could win the division, but it always feels like that, and then they don't. I feel like we have an elite college team with draft talent. It's weird. I really don't think anybody is stopping us from winning it all. I don't think you're wrong, man. It's so impressive to look at all these names. Like they rank under the top 25 under five, like our top 25 players under 25 years old. It's crazy how many guys they have lifted here. Like they have accumulated so much young talent. And now I think we said this in the last show. It's like it's their time to take over the team. Some of these dudes are getting into the second contracts. Maybe they're ending the first year of their maybe they're ending their rookie deals. But it's like it's now like officially the young guys team. Like it feels like that across the board. It's the young guys, and it's the young guys team supplemented with veterans. Every position has a supplement of veterans. Safety's the young guys position. Cornerback's the young guys position with a supplement of a couple of vets. We'll see where Ray Straw gets to. D lineman is now becoming the young guys position. Hutchinson, Aleem, Tyleek, Josh Pascal. Like there's not even really vets there, right? You have one, DJ Reader, right? And he was kind of the overlap. Linebacker. I mean, now linebacker's a close one, but you have Alex, all young guys outside of that. Offensive line's starting to get young. That's what they were trying to do. They're trying to get young there. Their guards could both be very young, both be under 25 years old. And then you have the vets that are like holding it down, on two spots there. But that's getting young. Receivers really young now. Tim Patrick's like the one vet there, and you have Khalif too. He has a role, but like, bro, we're getting young, man. And but it's not like young in a bad way. It's young as like because the good guys are just the better players. Would we have? What would we have? Would we have a set with Tyleek, Aleem, Hutch, and Levi? I definitely think so. Went back today and, like Levi would play some right DN. So like that'd be opposite of Hutch. So I definitely think we could see some of that, especially when Aleem gets back. As long as Levi's still rolling, by that time of the season, guys will probably be banged up. You'll need guys to play DN. I think they would love to have that front because that's a run defensive front. That should be a very good run defensive front. You have enough agility there. You may lack a little bit of juice on the edge with a guy like Levi, but if like Derek Barnes is out there too, with that front, you could put Barnes on the ball. You'd have a ton of juice up there. You'd be able to play the run first and then get after it. That'd be a very physical defensive line. That'd probably wear you down. That'd probably wear offensive linemen down who have to play every snap. Probably wear them down a little bit. Feel bad for the Texans. CJ Stroud gonna have to turn into yo, man, that's tough, man. O line goes 16-8. Yo, for real, bro. We have a lot like on paper. There's a chance that our future offense line's here. It probably won't work out that way, but like it could be. If Tate Ratledge goes to center, and Miles Frazier is as good at guard as I thought that he was, and you have Mahogany if he sticks at guard, and Giovanni Manu continues to get better. We talked about him last show. Right tackle is Penei Sewell. Like you could have your next five. You could have your next five offensive linemen rolling. He ate at DT. He ate at both though, but he was good at DT. I feel like he ate at both. Preference though, I'm with you, Hungry Panda. I would rather him at DT. I think that he's better there because he's a little bit more of a disruptor. But I thought that he was good at both. You just get more concerns. I think at D he just can get exposed more often. That's probably the big thing. He doesn't get exposed as much at D tackle, especially now. He's gotten a lot better, man. Like he used to have problems standing in there at DT. He doesn't really have those. At least last year, he didn't really have those issues. He got much better there. So I hear you, man. We got to be healthy though. Like as long as Davenport's out there, shouldn't never really hit the edge. How would you describe Levi's edge rushing style? Um, Maybe a little bit like Muhammad's in a sense where it's like, all right, there's maybe not a ton here that we can actually get to. Um, but powerful. like Muhammad, he kind of felt like Muhammad a little bit, but he's just more powerful than Muhammad. You know what I mean? But he's not going to be electric off the edge. Kind of fed into the DN real good. Yeah, because of injuries. But like they also came into the year saying that they were going to do that too. Like if you remember, they came into the year saying like, hey, we're going to play him at the end a little bit. Like, we're going to try that out. And we were all kind of like, wait a minute. Because I remember at training camp, like, yo, is Levi playing? Is Levi playing on the edge? Like, what are we doing? They had that mindset coming into the year. So they, I think they were trying to, and we talked about it. Like, they were trying to me, find a way to maximize what he was good at. And they were like, look, he's kind of a dancing bear on the edge. So even though he's big, he does move pretty well at the top of the rush. He deals with contact pretty well. Like he's not incredibly stiff. So he actually moved pretty well to play on the edge as a big man. We know he's powerful. So like I thought they were just like, let's just make him collapse the pocket from the edge. And as a run defender, he doesn't have to deal with the same double teams. So we'll just put him at DN. But he transitioned into being good on the interior. And this is true. But again, they said that coming into the year and it was fine for him. And then on top of that, our defensive line coach has played with DNs bigger than Levi. You know, like Sheldon Richardson's the best example. Like they've done that. And even our past, was it Red Bryant? Like even our past D-line coaches played with guys bigger than that also had that background as well. It's like, yo, big dudes playing on the edge. Like we've been there. And that was the transition when the first time they did it. But I think they liked the vision of it. Like I was never, super certain on the iffy thing, the safety, because I thought he was good at corner, and they're like, no, he's going to safety. And he was good at safety. But like it wasn't like he was playing bad at corner. They had that idea coming in with Levi, like he's playing on the edge, and it was like, all right, he's playing on the edge. So, they could change their mind, but I think that they're definitely going to get him looks there. What nickname would you call the rush defense if they hold the fort down all the way to Canton? What nickname we call the rush defense? The rush defense. What we call them? Y'all got better nicknames than I do. I'm gonna say something dumb that's not good. I'm gonna say something that's not good, bro. I don't want to do that to you. Like you came in with a good question. I'm gonna give you something whack. You're like, dang, I wish I didn't ask that question. The things that are about my mind is just not good. Just not good. It's not like, oh, that's fire. It's just not good. Like, it's not. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to think like I don't know, bro. Help them out. I have no idea. Why they overpay their guys but only give Levi a 1 year? What overpay their guys? Which guys? Which guy? I guess I hear what you're saying from the sense of I don't know if it's like I look at it from this because I think when the guys that get paid what they do, it's fair to the market. It just hasn't worked out with a lot of the early ones because of injury. Like Romeo's 3 year was a 3 year, $30 million. That was fair for what he was doing and what his position was. He just got hurt. Tracy Walker was definitely on uprise, and then you just bring in CD and you bring in Brian Branch. Like, all right, well, I guess he's the backup. Brian Branch. I guess he's the backup. Brian Branch pretty darn good. So it's like, okay, this is just how it worked out. So I guess from that perspective, like I hear what you're saying. That has been the biggest misses from Brad. It has undoubtedly been the biggest misses from Brad is the re-signings that he has made. But that's also the way that he is doing it. So like I don't expect that to change. That's his mindset. The Levi one, I don't know. Here's my take on this, and I talked about this when we signed him. I think the Levi signing was a two-way street. Number one, I didn't think he'd sign back. I thought he was going to outprice us. I think the him signing the 1 year deal is both sides saying that this makes sense. Levi gets the 1 year deal, has an opportunity to play with all the injuries, can play inside and outside. He's got a scheme that he likes. He now has that opportunity to put another good year together. And if he put another season like last year together, he could make $16 to $18 million a year. If he did what he did last year and he just did the exact same thing this year, he'd probably make $15+ million a year. So I think from his perspective, he hit the market thinking, let me see what that's looking like. The market probably didn't respond. It's like, we're going to give you that money. So he's like, all right, I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to go sign maybe I have no idea on any of this. This could all be wrong. But like if someone offered him 2 years, $12 million, I think he was like not taking 2 years, $12 million. Instead, and maybe it was even less than that, but instead, like, I'll go re-sign the 1 year deal. I don't want to be locked into a deal here. I want to be able to get out and go get paid. But in the meantime, the best spot is here to do that. That way I can really, because I think he's looking to cash out, and he probably didn't get the same response that maybe he was hoping to get. I thought that he would get this offseason, but I think if he literally just put the same season together, he's going to cash out after this year. So I think that was a two-way street, and I don't think the Lions were going to be willing to give him that kind of number because of the injuries. And I also don't know that I don't think he would have taken like a 2 or 3 year deal with us. You know what I mean? Because I don't think we would have given him the right money for that. And I think that he's looking to go get the big money. So I think it's going to happen. It just won't happen here. We made teams one dimensional. Can't run on us so safeties can eat. Yeah, hopefully, man. Like that's the goal. That's the goal, man. But also to that, like we need to also send bodies to the run. Like I was even making a list of like things that I want to see be different this year. I do want to see them just be more aggressive. I want to see them throw bodies to the run. Like, hey, leave guys 1-on-1. There's certain games where it's like, yo, you can't let them just run the football. Like you force them to make the throw. And that's where the cornerbacks come into play. But in some cases, like I'd rather them throw 1-on-1 than I would them picking up 5 yards on first down every play. Like at some point, make it 2nd and 8 or throw the ball on us and we'll see what happens. We'll take our chances because we like our cornerback room, especially now. You invested in DJ and Terrion and Rakestraw and Amigos. Like at some point, make them make the play, and then we'll go from there. But like that's not every game, but there's certain games where I want to see us throw more bodies. Don't let them run the ball. Let's just force them to do something else. Because you getting clapped on the run game, bro. You got no answer. Like if you just can't stop the run, bro, like you're done. You're cooked, bro. Like you're not going to be in a good spot. You're going to have turnovers go your direction at that point, or you're going to have to score a ton of points. We signed a couple of those rookies we drafted. Does it mean they saw some major talent? I don't think it means much. I think they're going to sign everybody they drafted. So I don't think it means much. Usually there's like little nuances to those deals because numbers are set. There's nuances to those deals they have to work out with the players. Outside of that, I don't think it really means anything. I just think it's a timing thing. I think every rookie will sign. I don't think there's going to be a rookie that doesn't sign here. D-line and snap count last year. That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't know that. It's crazy. Makes sense, but it's crazy. If pass rush gets there, quarterbacks could chuck it in the air. They could chunk it in the air. Pass rush gets there. Definitely could. Like you got to have both. You got to have both. But pass rush won't get there when it's 3rd and 1. You know what I mean? And that's the problem we got to fix. Could he be our Milton Williams? Absolutely. No, I think that's the path. I think Milton Williams had one breakout year. I just think Milton Williams was more on the now. Milton Williams was a rotational piece even in his breakout year. Difference is Levi's just hurt every year. And Levi put together a solid season the year before that. It was like, okay, we're getting back on the field. If he has the exact same season as last year, I think at least he's probably making 15 a year. Like I would be shocked if it was significantly less than that. So I think he's definitely in play to go get that. And that's the guy that I want on my team is the guy that's trying to go get paid, bro. Hey, look, we've had those dudes before. Cliff Averill, bro, go get paid, dog. Go get your bag, but do it here. Go earn that payday here. Like I'm with that. I love having those dudes. I think J-Mo is hit and miss tracking the football. I think both can be the case. Jared does underthrow some as well. Timing is everything between those two because Goff doesn't have a massive arm, so ball's got to get out. But there's been both. I mean, it depends. I think Jim's gotten a lot better at tracking the football, though. I think he's gotten much better. You know, we would see flashes in the past, like the Bucks game, but he's gotten much better there to me. I think he's gotten much better at tracking the football. I think he's worked on it too a lot. If Davenport gets injured again, I'm done with him. And by the way, I think what's his name? Lovett can really track the ball too, so I think they're going to like him right away. I did see the NFL has the Protector Award, you know, best offensive lineman, and that's cool. Like that's really cool. We might get it. Like real, you know, I don't know how they're going to do it. Like I don't know what they're going to judge it on because whoever votes probably going to be looking at PFF. If we're being honest, I guess is Trent Williams would have had like 8 of these awards if this was already a thing, but I think. I don't know. Like it'll very likely go to left tackles over and over and over and over. I don't think it'll go to guards ever. Maybe it could have like early for the dude from Indy because he was picked at 6 and there was buzz. It'll probably always go to a left tackle, but I would like to see Sewell. I mean, Sewell has the best chance to do it. I don't think Frank would get it. I don't see a scenario where they give it to Frank right now. Even if Frank's the best center in football, I don't think they'd give it to him. Is the D-line better than 2014 D-line we had? If you told me we were right, I'd say yes. Like if everybody we had was on the field, that's the best defensive line I think we'd ever have. because Hutchinson's better than any edge rusher I think we've ever had. Next up would be Ziggy probably, but I think Hutchinson's better than Ziggy Ansah was. Now Sue was, Sue was crazy. So you don't have a Sue, but you do have a very good Aleem, and then it's Tyreek and it's Tyreek and Reader, but that's a better, that's a good rotation. And then Davenport, like that would be the best front. The problem is all of them together. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. So hopefully it does. But I think it would have a case. I mean, 2014 is great though. Like 2014 is Fairly, right? Fairly, Sue. Was that Ziggy back at that time? Averill, was that Vanden Bosch? I had to look that one up. 2014. 2014 was a great year, man. They had a great defense. That was where we were right behind Seattle, I think, that year. Why did it take me to this? All right, this is. Yeah, I don't know what we're looking at here. 2020. Huh. 6-10. That's good. 2017. All right, here we go. This is the first year. Yeah, this was Ziggy. So we had Sue at 8.5 sacks. Ziggy had 7.5. He played 16 games. Jason Jones. Forgot Jason Jones. Jason Jones. What else do we have on here? Andrea Fluellen. Andre Fluellen, though. Andre Fluellen actually has some overlap with Casey Rogers. I believe he does. Devin Taylor. And then they would have had George Johnson. Like, so those are good pieces. That's not like elite, but those are good pieces. Oh, it's James Ahedebo. That's who I was thinking of. CJ Mosley. What else do we have in here? Taylor Tapp. Yeah, Darrell Tapp. Darrell Tapp. Okay, I don't remember Darrell Tapp. I don't remember him. Yo, these names are bringing back some memories, though. My goodness, man. Isa Abdul Quadus. I forgot about that dude, bro. Wasn't he the special teamer? He had the most fire name. I think he wore the long sleeve. Cassius Vaughn. Cassius Vaughn was heat. I remember his interception, was it overseas, the Atlanta interception? Helped us come back. I think that was him. Corey Fuller. Yeah, we had some dogs, man. Kyle Van Noy. Yeah, I think that didn't hit here. We had Karan Reed. Evan Lawson. Okay, maybe not a dog, but we had him. Jonathan Evan Lawson. Don Carey. Yeah, we had some tough dudes, bro. Hey, we had some tough players, man. Do you think we're going to see quick slants in the playbook? Quick slants. It's a good question. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember if I saw a lot of those with Morton's offenses. I think Lovett would be great at running quick slants. I think Lovett's great there. Quick slants. Do we run a lot of quick slants? I feel like we don't run a lot of just like quick slants. I don't know. I honestly I wouldn't think a ton. Like we don't do that a lot. We have like the skinny post we'll run, but we don't run a lot of like just straight quick slants, I feel like. Like we don't. Hope we're better this year, but that's a high bar. That is a high bar. Now we've outdone some of the things because if you look at it from like yards or points, like we've had defenses right there with it. Because like they allowed 17 points a game that year, 17.5, that was third. Like we've had years statistically that are there with it over the past couple of years, depending on the categories that you look at. We just haven't tied both offense and defense together. Like they didn't tie those two things together last year. Wasn't Tolek healthy that year? Was he healthy? I think so. I think Tolek was healthy that year. I think he was because him and Levy would have been holding it down. No, he played 3 games, so he was not healthy that year. It was Levy and Tahir Whitehead. Yo, Whitehead was fire. Hey, Whitehead was tough, man. He always had that like sleeve, I feel like. Didn't he wear the sleeve, the big white sleeve? Rasheem Mathis. Bro, this is crazy seeing these names. Josh Bynes. Ashley Palmer. Come on, man. What? Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? If the Lions can sniff 2014 defense winning the Super Bowl. No, they'll sniff the 2014 defense. That sounds crazy. They will. No, they definitely will. Because like they've been in that category already. They've already been in that range. Like that's not that far off. I think they'll be there. Like if you look at let's just go last year. Last year, the Lions allowed 20 points a game. They were 7th in the NFL. 20 points a game. I think last year was better. So they allowed 20 points a game. And the run defense got to get better. But in total yards, they were 5th in yards allowed rushing. And let's go total pass yards. This is probably on the higher side. They were 30th in total pass yards. So those kind of balance based on the score. Let's see, what else can we look at here? Yards, total yards allowed. 20th in total yards. 18 touchdowns, 16 picks, which meant that they were 10th in turnovers forced. Last year was such a weird year, too, with all these injuries, man. It kind of throws everything off. I know if I go back to 2023, we were healthy. That helps. 2023, they were, let's see where we at. They were 2nd in rush yards allowed. They were near the bottom in pass yards, I think, allowed again, too. Yeah, 27th in pass yards allowed, so a little bit better. They also had forced 18th in turnovers, 23. I remember that because they were like, we got to get some turnovers, and they kind of did at the end of the year. And they allowed, where are we at? 23 points a game. So, yeah, I think they're in that ballpark. They can get there. They can get there, man. To look discount double check is, yeah, that's, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. It's very unfortunate. I remember watching that, bro. I think everybody, that's like one of those memories that every Lions fan has, is remembering him jump up and do that. Everybody has that, bro. It was like, oh, dude, that's not good. No, man, that's tough, bro. Like, you feel bad, though, bro. Like, that's not supposed to happen. It's one thing to get hurt. You're not supposed to get hurt when you're happy. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Oh, man. Man, bro. Matt Judon, Zadarius Smith sign here and win now. Zadarius, bro. Judon was trash last year, but I liked Judon the year before, but he was trash last year. Give me Zadarius. You know what I mean? No, I don't. I think it was did we cut or did we trade Ebron? Did we trade him? I think we traded him. And I remember it because I was in high school and I remember going to like one of our lifting days and being like, man, I kind of liked Ebron. Like, yeah. Did he trade or did he get cut? I think he got traded. Why is it showing me Lakers? What are we? No, not LeBron. Oh, that's why. It's showing me Eric Ebron was drafted by the Lions, released in 2018. He was not traded. Okay, so he was released. Hey, and he cooked that next year. Y'all remember Pittsburgh? He went crazy, or was it Indy? Might have been Indy. He like had a crazy season, and then he had a great year though. He had a great year. I don't have an Ebron jersey though. I don't. If I did, it'd be a black jersey because it'd look cool. I feel like that would look slick. I think he did like the photo shoot in the black color rush jerseys, and it was pretty clean. Like that was like the best moment of Eric Ebron was his color rush photo shoot, probably. Yeah, that might have been it. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's a tough way to go, man. Yeah, he hurt himself. Oh man, nobody wanted him. Yeah. Well, hey, bro, like who picked? Because he did have a good year the next year. It makes sense that nobody traded for him. It's tough though, man. As a first round pick, like, how do you miss like that? I don't know. He went to Indy and had 750 yards the next year on 66 receptions, made the Pro Bowl. And then that was kind of it. Pittsburgh had a solid season too in there. I don't know. Like I never hated Ebron. Like he would definitely drop the football a lot, and that was a problem. But I do remember we cut him. I was like, oh man, I kind of liked Eric Ebron. It's like he wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad. I remember I liked Eric Ebron, bro. I don't know. Let me see how many drops. Let's see how many drops he actually had. Can we see how many drops he actually had in 2014? Do we have those stats? Let's be fair to the guy. Let's see. All right, 2014. All right, he had Oh, wait, no, not 2014. 2017 is when he was cut. 2017. Okay. 2017, he was cut. Oh, my goodness. Thing won't move. Okay. 2017, he was cut. He had 8 missed tackles forced. That's pretty good. 97 pass rating when targeted. He had 6 drops. Yeah, he had a lot of drops. He had 6 drops that year, which isn't terrible because the year before he had 9, which is a problem. He had 4, 6, 9, and 6 according to PFF. So he had 6 drops on 53 receptions. That's not good. That's like 80. So he had 80 targets. He had 6 drops. So on 53 receptions. So he had basically a drop every 10 receptions, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a drop every 8 receptions. That's a lot of drops. It's a lot of drops. But that was the issue. Like he wasn't a bad receiver. You know, he made guys miss and stuff. I don't know if he blocked well or not. I have no clue. He may have been great as a blocker. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably not, though. That wasn't like his thing that he was known for. Yeah, I don't really know. He only had 3 pass blocking snaps. He dropped big passes. Yeah, that's a problem, too. You know, moment does matter. Moment does matter. They'll stick with you. Steelers cut him, too. The only reason he did well in is because receivers were injured. Hey, he still did well, bro. He still did well. He was unwilling to block. Y'all just hate Eric Ebron, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, bro did some work, all right? He just wasn't, wasn't the first round pick. But if we took him round 5, you'd be like, oh, that's a pretty good pick. Think about it. If we took Eric Ebron day 3, you'd be like, yo, the value we got at Eric Ebron was tough. That dude was a steal. People might say that. People might consider him a steal if he was a day 3 pick. But you pick him at 11. I think it was 11. No longer considered a steal. Was it 11? Aaron Donald went next. All right, but that's not important. That's not important. That's not important, Except for our guy did take Eric Ebron or Aaron Donald. So yeah, he went pick 10. I think Donald went 13. So he went pick 10. Dude ran a 4.640 at 6'4", 250 pounds. Pretty athletic. It's pretty athletic, man. 6'4", 250, ran a 4.6 flat. 32-inch vertical is okay. It's not bad. That's good. It's good. It's not like insane, but it's good. Really good. You don't get a lot of tight ends like that, so I get it. Was 10. Donald went a couple picks later. Ebron gave you inconsistent glimpses as potential of what he could be. That's what I'm saying, man. Time he missed a block and started crying when Bell broke the tackle and ran into him. No, that's crazy. No, that's crazy, bro. Because I'm not sure what player you're talking about. Hey, at least he cared, though, bro. He cared. He's like, I missed the block, man. That's on me. I'm apologizing. You know what I mean? He wasn't okay with that. That's good. That's what I want. I want a team full of Eric Ebrons. That's what I want, bro. I want a team full of guys that care, man. All right, let's just leave this in the past. Let's just leave this where it was, okay? All right, let's keep it moving. Let's not continue down that rabbit hole. That's going to be a mess. Let's not continue to do that. You said the Colts owner just passed? Irsay? Jim Irsay? 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 I don't know how you say his last name, but that really just happened for real? Wow. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know him like personally, bro, but Jim was like I'll say this because it's just happening. Yeah, because I worked for the Colts for that year, bro. They loved Jim. Like they loved him. Everybody that that dude was. They were telling me stories about this guy. Like he would like host events for the Colts so that he could play music, and he would get out there and perform. Man, Jim would get out there and he'd perform, bro. Like this dude was performing for the Indianapolis fans, dude. So like everybody that told me about him, they loved that dude, man. Oh, that stinks. He seemed to be running the Colts pretty darn well, man. I don't know. I like what they were doing. I like what they were doing. I like how they ran it over there. That's unfortunate. All right. Man, that's a sad note to end this on. Hmm. Fair before Randy Moss, so forth. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's tough. All right. Well, I guess that's what I guess that's what we're gonna end it on. Oh man, dude. Um, think about it. Holmes and famous drafting Donald. If we took him before Ebron, we wouldn't have Brad now. Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. That's a good way to think about it. It's a good way to look at it. I worked for the Colts in what year was that? 20. Let me see. Check my profile. I worked for the Colts for a year. So I worked with all the Colts home games. Um I didn't know like a lot of the I didn't know the people up there like that. I just knew about him through the people that I worked with. And like I said, they loved him, man. Um like they would throw stuff just for him. So I was like, all right, that's cool. So I don't know, he like however it worked, like their staff was very well taken care of, and that's what I liked about it. So I worked for the Colts in 2023. For the 2023 season, I worked for the Colts. So I'm like a Colts guy. You know what I mean? It's also a sweet football too. They got me the what? Yeah, they hooked me up. I got love for the Colts, man. Yeah, yeah. I hear, but like you said, Eric Ebron definitely had a heck of a season with Andrew Luck, though. Yeah, we don't need to keep talking about Eric Ebron. I don't think he's playing anymore, right? Did he retire? Good for yeah, that is a weird way to look at it though. Like to have it go from Eric Ebron to they end up getting Donald and now we get Brad Holmes. And I like that. I like that. It's like if that doesn't happen, is he not here? Maybe not. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool way to look at it. And you would never knew that back at that time, but here we are. And we're winning now. When you like Anthony Richardson so much. No, I liked Richardson out of Florida. The first year I got there, they had just drafted Anthony Richardson. Now Richardson has not, been good for them. So I'm not like an Anthony Richardson defender right now. I'll say that. I'm not like a Richardson guy. I do like some of their players though. Like they moved off their linebacker, which was tough during that year. But I love Josh Downs, like for example. I'm a big Josh Downs guy. So I love Josh Downs. I liked Richardson coming out. I was hyped when they got him. It's like, oh, this is perfect, bro. And they got Richardson, and they always go like super athletic in the draft. But yeah, I'm not really a defender of him as of now. Like I don't. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I think they needed a tight end to make it work, so that should help them. But I will say, I like I like what they've gotten out of a lot of their guys. Like they've gotten a lot out of their back end, which is like super young, a lot of late picks. They've gotten some dudes back, and then this year they started spending money in the back there. But they've gotten a lot out of the pieces that they've had. They're very young too. Colts have a lot of things, man. They got to put that together. They got to find something there. I'm a big Kellen Mond fan. I was a big Kellen Mond fan. I feel like that guy. All right, that kind of did me dirty, but it also was good because when I did the thing on Kellen Mond, I thought Kellen Mond was. I think I even touted it. Like I was like, oh, okay, hey, late round pick, and he ended up going like round 3 to the Vikings. So I liked him a lot. He went round 3, which my fault, but I guess it kind of put me in a weird spot because it's like, okay, he went probably too high, but I already said I liked him as like a day 3, like a late sleeper or whatever I called him. I don't know, but like, yo, now I'm like in. So like, all right, shoot, I think Kelmon's be good, and then like it didn't happen. So it's like, all right, but that's understandable if he's like round 7, not when he's round 3. So it looks pretty bad. It looks pretty rough. Let me see what Kellen Mond. Yeah, sleeper project quarterback. Risk reward. Well, they definitely got the risk. They definitely got the risk. They didn't get the reward, unfortunately. Why is my video upside down? Yeah, see, I was doing videos different back then, bro. Episode 6, risk reward. Yo, so I was doing draft prospect videos for years. Colts D line. Colts got bro, they do, man. They do. They got a dog last year, too. I think Ty Warren's be perfect for him. I think they're going to run a lot of like read options, just flip it out to him, let him run. What do I have written up here? 2021 sleepers. Yeah, bro, this is showing some stuff, man. Like we've been doing these since day one. I don't even know if I was showing. Oh boy, I was probably showing you how he throws the football. I think that's what that is. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm showing you how goofy he holds the football. This is kind of like what Aaron. All right. Anyway, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Okay. But yeah, I'm always rooting for the Colts. Like on the side, like I'm rooting for the Colts. I hope they win. I hope they do really well. Always rooting for the Colts. Like on the side, always hoping the Colts do really well. That's like if I had a number 2 team, which I always say I never have another 2 team, but they're in the AFC, it's the Colts for me. I'm hoping they crush it. I'd love to play that team in the Super Bowl. That'd be ideal. And I showed them a lot of love on Bleacher Report this last year. We did our we did it when we did our weekly predictions. I showed them a lot of love. It just backfired a lot. They played a lot of close games. They just lost them. Haley Daniel Jones been great in practice. Look, bro, if that's what it is, that's what it is. You know, I'm with it. Whoever can play, let's go with Daniel Jones. Whoever can play. I think they should go get my boy Aiden O'Connell from the Raiders, slide him in there, let him compete, man. Give him a 7th round pick, let him become your starter. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. But whatever it takes, Daniel Jones, like maybe he could be their Sam Darnold. They might be able to do that. They might be able to do that. All right, with that, we're gonna leave it here, man. I appreciate y'all joining. Friday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back with something. I don't know what yet. I know mini camp and stuff is getting close, or was it OTAs? So we're gonna have to be getting on that pretty soon. But we got a little bit of time, I think, still here. I don't know what we're gonna do Friday. I don't really have a plan. Yeah, I don't really have a plan for Friday right now, so I'm just kind of seeing what happens, and we'll do something. I don't know. Quintez Muhammad is the guy to watch for this year. And if you're just joining, feel free to run it back. The first 30 minutes is a drawn out show. After that, I'm just chatting. So if you're just joining, feel free to roll back to the beginning because you'll actually see the video that I put together versus what we're doing now, which is just chatting. Friday, we'll see what happens. I know we got to continue to get through these draft guys. So I don't know who's next yet. It might be Dan Jackson. I don't know. I don't know who's next yet, but we got to do that. And you saw we dropped DJ Reed today. So a lot of good stuff coming out. For some reason, my voice always looks weird. It's like when I get through editing it, like if I pause my editing and then I resume, the voice gets thrown off. I don't know what that is, but I don't know how to fix it post edit. So I have to leave it. I'm just going to not pause my videos anymore. I'm just going to cut everything out. Because what I'll do is like if I'm recording and I need to stop, I'll have to pause it. But when I pause it and I unpause it, for whatever reason, like the voice gets thrown off. So I'm going to just stop doing that and hopefully it fixes the problem. That's my best guess. I'm not great with this stuff, man. But anyways, I'm in here, man. I appreciate y'all joining. Have a great night. And I'll see you guys at latest Friday, same time. And we're out.